What is happening, Flip Flop fam? I'm super excited to have Aurora here today. But, Aurora, for people who don't know, who are you and what do you do?
I guess I'm a media strategist. So I love helping thought leaders and experts and entrepreneurs create books that make a difference, win awards, and also work as effective lead magnets for their business. I wrote a book, I wrote 10 books, but one of them is called Turn Words into Wealth. So I love to help people turn their words into wealth. I think your words are power. Let's make them profitable.
I love that. And we were just chatting offline. You happened to catch me on book launch day, so we have tons to talk
Congratulations.
about. Yeah.
That's exciting. Everybody go out and buy the magnet, the method, and the machine, the three laws and nine levers custom home builders use to scale to 20 million and beyond.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you I'm really curious. We are also chatting ahead of the pressing the record button here, but there's so many people that want to write a book and don't.
Yes.
And which is like 99% of people you talk to them, they want to write a book, right?
Yeah.
What do you think is the big thing that keeps people from doing that? And I'll go from there. I'll just leave it there.
Well, it's very interesting. Yeah, the data shows that 80% of people want to write a book. So that's the majority of the population. But 80% of people also want to be thin and fit and wealthy, but don't necessarily follow through on those goals either. So, but if to drill down specifically with books, I think that it makes most sense if you're an entrepreneur or an expert or a thought leader or you want to be a speaker to have a book. But it's also good to think about it as a legacy. So I think why people don't do it or they don't finish it, well, the average first-time author spends 3.5 years writing a book. I want to hear from you how long it took you to write your second book. I hear that you trimmed it down so there's no fluff. But if you are pulled forward and also pushed from behind, that's the way to get any goal done, including writing a book. So, what stops people is they don't have enough pulling them forward or they don't have enough pushing them from behind. So then they let little things like, I don't know how to publish a book. I don't know how to get an agent. Do I need a publisher? How do I use ChatGPT? Maybe I'm not good enough. The imposter syndrome, the perfectionism, like all of those things get in the way. But if you are a successful entrepreneur or expert and you've already got a 6 or 7 figure business, and you can see I could 10x or 20x my revenue if I had a book and I could go on podcasts and speak, then you have something pulling you. Those people are far more likely to get their book done. But I also want there to be something pushing you. So, what lessons have you learned? And wouldn't it be a tragedy if you didn't communicate those to other people who could benefit? Let that push you while something else pulls you, and you will get your book done.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that was certainly me with $1 million flip-flops. I mean, I had just sold my business and I was sitting, talk about it in the book. I was sitting on a beach in Thailand and looked over at Nicole and said, I got to give it all away. And she just like drops her mango smoothie and has no idea what I'm talking about. And that's just how my entrepreneurial brain works. But that's what turned into that book and our foundation sent a student leader abroad. All of those things came from like that day on the beach in Thailand. But it
Yeah,
was it was all because I had learned I feel like I've lived 60 lives in 40 years, like I've
yeah,
I've been through a lot and it was silly to just let it all die with me. And I didn't know if it'd help one
yeah,
person and I didn't care. I was just like if I can help one person by writing all this stuff down, let's go.
exactly right. That's, I think, a great way to think about it rather than imagining that the book needs to reach 1 million people or 10 million people or change the world. What if it could change the life or save the life of one person? I mean, that's why I published my first book. I just thought, struggling with perfectionism, I'm struggling with imposter syndrome, I'm struggling with, oh my God, this is such a personal story. And do I really want to reveal all of this? And then I realized, if I could help one person not suffer as much as I did, if I can help one person avoid the wrong turns that I've made, it'd totally be worth it. I call that karma math rather than, number
It was
crunching
a
math
different
that your
bucket, right?
CPA could use. Exactly right. Yeah. And we learn so much in our lives. I think we were talking before we started recording about AI and ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude and all of the LLMs. And they are making so many things wonderfully accessible. Like my team and I make beautiful videos for my YouTube channel, Strategic Basics. It wouldn't have been possible to have done that even 10 years ago. It would have been too time consuming. I have a fantasy series and we're creating fantastical, videos for the fantasy series. And now I forgot what the actual point was. I was going somewhere with this. Oh, yes. But what I wanted to say is, while the LLMs make it faster and easier than ever to create, they're also just average. They are just predicting what is a normal or
Act.
average ending of that sentence. So I think now more than ever before, our personal stories, our triumphs, our hero story where we've overcome obstacles, these are more valuable than ever because you own your own personal story. You won't profit from it unless you capture it on a video or audio or in a book. But why not lean into that your stories and the stories of the lives of your clients and people that you've helped, those are where the gold are.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I gave a keynote in Austin at a conference, and the title was information versus inspiration.
Hmm.
And ChatGPT, all these things, they're really good at information,
Yeah,
but why you connect with someone is still and will always be inspiration. And we don't really know where it comes from, but it's it's the amalgamation of all of these things that, and you can see it in the, if you write an email from scratch or you have a marketing company writes you one with ChatGPT, and they can arguably both be good or even great. The one you wrote will connect better. And I believe there's
yeah.
an energy that goes into, it's why I buy real paintings and I
Hmm.
won't buy a print. Like I believe there's energy that the artist put in there with their brush that is worth
Absolutely.
saving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's something about the human touch. Double down on being human in the age of AI.
Yeah.
That's where the money is. That's where the joy is too.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So how did you end up, you're obviously you've had 10 books, how did you decide, hey, I want to help other people get their story out? Where did that start?
I think entrepreneurs solve problems at a profit. So I always just respond to the marketplace. And people kept asking me, how did you get on so many TV and radio shows? How did you write so many books? Would you help me with my book? And I'm like, well, that's not what I'm doing now, but yeah, that could be fun. And when three people asked me the same question in, small space of time, like a week or two, I'm like, oh, the universe is trying to send me a message. So then what I always like to do is I recommend people could do this. I wrote about it in the book Turn Words into Wealth. Is like do a short quick, inexpensive test. So I did like a 90-day test to see, oh, if people would be interested in having me help them with create their $1 million message, help them with their marketing, help them publish a book. And I wrote a little book to do that, which, because I always like to use book as lead magnet. So I wrote this little book, Marketing Fast Track. And this little book launched a new business. It generated $250,000 of new business in 90 days. And I'm like, okay, I guess people do want my help with their messaging and their marketing and their book publishing. So I shifted to that from what I was doing at that time. I've had several different businesses. I raised $5 million and made 8 films in a film and television production company. Done different businesses, but the common denominator has always been communication. So when I was able to lean in and actually nail the message, then the right clients were attracted. When I was fumbling around, what am I doing and how can that change lives? That didn't work so well. So there's so much value in nailing your $1 million message. I love the 80/20 rule. I know that communication is in that 20% of things that if you spend more time working on your communication, it will bring 80% results.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, and I even talk with my guys, most of my coaching, I still get coaching clients from $1 million flip flops. So they're a little bit varied, but most of them are home builders. And every one of their websites looks exactly the same. They do everything for everybody, and like
Yeah,
getting them to understand how important niche is, and getting anyone to understand that you're not excluding when you do that. You're not Tony
yeah,
Robbins. You're not Oprah. Like you have to have a very specific thing. One person's ears need to perk up, and it's such a
yeah.
counterintuitive thing to explain to somebody.
It is counterintuitive. And to be honest, I struggled with it at first because I like to help everybody. But, it's really true. Like if we say yes to something, we're actually saying no to something else. So now, like one of my clients, he's selling his company for $100 million this month. And he really is excited about shifting from serving a very narrow niche to being of service to general population. So that requires a book, it requires messaging, it requires a whole new business. And I love to be part of his team to transition into that. And that's super exciting for me. and he's operating at a high level. So that is the ideal person that I serve now. Not everybody is selling their business for millions of dollars, but I love to help people who are really committed and passionate and excited about what they're doing. So, for example, another one of my clients actually is a litigation attorney. He's at the top of his game as a lawyer, but his heart wasn't into it. He was in these five stages. I guess he was in the anxious philosopher stage. And he's like, I really don't want my whole, my tombstone to be. He was a great litigation attorney. He's always wanted to be a writer. So I've helped him write a couple of legal thrillers now. He liked doing it so much for the first one that we're doing a bunch more. He's got over 2.5 million pages read, over 100,000 fans, thousands of reviews, I think 3,500 reviews, something like that on Amazon, multiple book awards, Amazon, sorry, like American Fiction Award, etc. And the surprising thing is he's getting more work as a litigation attorney because when people go, "Hey, we could hire this," all of these suits look like they've got similar credentials, but this one, Michael Stockham, he's interesting because he's an award-winning best-selling author. Let's hire him because it'll be more fun. It'll be more interesting.
Yeah. Things you wouldn't necessarily think would be related, right? And it still works.
Yeah, I did not see that one coming, but I was like, "Yay!"
I love it. I love it. I don't like to save this till the very end. How can people come find you? Where do you hang out? How do we come get you?
Oh, well, thanks for asking. Well, the a fun way to get a hold of me is you just go to YouTube and check out Strategic Basics. We have a new episode coming out every week. It's free, it's fun, it's a little nugget of information that will help you with communication, with media, with publishing. I just lean into all of those topics. Or if you want, get the book Turn Words into Wealth on Amazon so you can mark it up. Or you can go to my website, which is my name, Aurora winter.com, AuroraWinter.com. You can see what I'm up to. You can schedule a business breakthrough call, and you can even get the book Turn Words into Wealth for free as an ebook.
Awesome. And thank you for spelling that. Because when I'm listening to podcasts, I like it when people spell the thing because I'm driving it or whatever, and then I'll remember it
Yeah,
better.
you're like,
So,
what? How do you spell that? And Aurora
and
is
all
not
that'll be in the show
obvious.
notes too. So,
Thanks,
um,
Rodric.
so the last guest left you a question, Aurora. And before I ask you that question, what would you like to ask the next guest?
Oh. I would like to ask the next guest, how was something that seemed at the time to be a huge setback later get transformed into some kind of blessing?
That's a good one. I've
Because in
I've
my
sh
experience, if we're willing to look for it, there's always something. There's always a silver lining to each cloud.
I have shared this thought with a handful of people, but I honestly believe that part of wisdom, however you want to classify that, is understanding that everything happens for you, not to you.
Hmm.
And that if I look back on the terrible things in my life, quote unquote, and how I grew from that and what those things turned into, every single one of them was a blessing. And I
Yeah.
think I think wisdom is recognizing that faster and you don't wallow.
And that's the difference between a chat and a human being. Chat is knowledge or information, but we hopefully lean into wisdom. And I've found that in my own life. My husband died when he was 33, I was 31, and our son was 4.
Wow.
That was like being run over by a truck in the middle of the freeway. I'm not grateful that he died, obviously, but I'm grateful for how it changed me because at the time I was a very, competitive, A-type, ambitious person who thought, okay, make more money. That's the key to life. And afterwards, I'm still an ambitious person, but I realized, I want to make a difference with my life. I want to leave behind hearts that were enriched by me being on this planet and other people, connections, contribution, creativity, really matters. That's why I actually wrote a young adult fantasy series, Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse. It's a trilogy. The third one just came out last month
Awesome.
because I'm hoping to entertain, but also hopefully implant a little bit of wisdom.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, the we were down, I live about 2 hours north of Charlotte, up in the
Mm.
mountains.
I
And
see the mountains. It looks beautiful in the background there.
it is beautiful.
It
everyone asks me
is.
why I moved, and I'm like, that's why,
Hello, yeah.
Anyway, we were down in Charlotte and I surprised a friend. We stopped at her art thing she was having downtown. Had no idea I even knew it existed, and we just stopped by.
Mm.
And she was introducing me. This was Saturday night. She was introducing me to her two friends at the table. And she's like, "Oh, oh my gosh, can't believe you're here, whatever." And then she's like, "This is my friend Rodric. He figured it out a lot earlier than the rest of us."
Ah,
And I was like,
nice.
she doesn't know this, but that was like the best compliment I could ever receive.
That is a great compliment. That totally goes with your brand.
So, all right, enough about that. Enough about me. I want to ask you your question.
All right.
Came from Steve Seidel, and he's got a really cool product called the Journey Deck that is it's
Hmm.
meant for men, but anybody could use it. And it's just these fun questions that
Hmm.
you pull it out like a deck of cards, and it starts the conversation. And but it's deep stuff. It's not like what's your favorite color.
Ah,
So his question for you, Aurora, was what haven't you said that you want to?
what haven't I said that I want to? Oh gosh, I don't know that there's a long list there. Let me riff for a moment to give you background. I believe that the depth or quality of a relationship is measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations we're willing to have. So I've really been leaning into having uncomfortable conversations. And I don't want to dodge this question, but I am really trying to think because I've had a few uncomfortable conversations with my son and with my father, who are the key players in my life that were, made me toss and turn for 3 nights before I spat it out. But I did spit it out. Um, I'm sorry, I can't think of anything.
I feel
Ask me
like,
the question again. Let me see if I can scrape for something. You go
well,
ahead. What were you going to say?
let me give you my context here because
All right.
I do this with every guest, and every guest is wildly different. It's not like it's just a show about authors, right? Like
Right.
it's gonna be natural that someone in your position is gonna come on. Like there's always very different people, but the questions I have found have been very apropos, guest to
Uh-huh.
guest to guest, even though I have no idea who's gonna be next. And in your case, where I think that's kind of neat is you're a 10 times published best-selling author, and I ask, what haven't you said? And
Right.
there's no answer.
There's
And
no answer.
I think your background on it is the answer. I don't know that you need a distinct
Oh,
answer there,
well,
if that makes sense.
thank you. Yes, I guess what I said in response is going to be useful for people. And I do recommend it. Like, um, think about think about your relationships. And if you want the relationships to be deeper, be willing to have those uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah,
And
no,
if you have something to share with the world, why not write a book? Maybe I can help you with that.
there you go. There you go. Well, I think is there anything else you want to share with the audience before we bounce? This has been a
Well,
ton.
before we bounce, seeing as your book just came out, I think you should get the last word and tell people why you wrote The Magnet, the Method, and the Machine and what's in it for them if they read it and hopefully leave a review ASAP.
I'm going to give my audio guy a little clap there because the lawnmower just showed up and I can hear his
Ah,
diesel truck and he's about to floor it up the hill.
uh-oh.
So my answer would be nothing but diesel smoking lawnmowers. Okay. Why did I write the three laws and the nine levers, the magnet method machine? It started with the video. Um, just how I believe you scale companies. I've had a lot of different companies. And I said this to some people today during launch that the nuts and bolts of it don't change. My case studies in here are for home builders because I spent 25 years in real estate development and construction. But you could have an ice cream shop and the principles are still the same. It's still systems and execution, it's still team, it's still sales and marketing. Those things have
Mm,
never changed in any business I've had. So I just wanted to put something out there. We were talking, I think, before we hopped on, like I only work with 20 people at a time, so the chances of me getting to impact your business are really small. So what can I put out there that's super valuable that just helps people along and show them that there's a better way? Like there's a lot of guys, especially in this industry, A, because it's mostly male driven, B, because they're stubborn, they're in a lot of pain and they
Mm.
don't see a way out of what they've built. They've built themselves a prison.
You
And
built a trap.
yeah,
Ah.
yeah. And
Mm.
how do you help the most number of people possible? I'm like, I'll put up a YouTube video. It was my first long form video.
Mm.
Um, and we were talking like most of my videos have 60 views. This one got 80,000 last time I looked. So I was
Wow.
like, you know what? Let's let's put it in a book. And now that I have the book, I'm getting the questions. Are you going to do an audiobook for this one? Because I did an audiobook for Million Dollar Flip Flops, and these guys are all in their trucks and driving around, and I get it.
Yeah.
So I'm going
Yeah.
to end up doing a dang audiobook too, even though I didn't want to. To your point, right? Like people keep asking. It's like, okay, we'll give them what they want. So
Well, that's
that's
the
why.
really cool that's the cool thing about books because you can actually change people's lives around the world. You build the book once and then you can help millions of people without any incremental time on your part. So
Yeah.
even though your business only serves 20 people a year and you rock their world, you're going to rock the world of people who read your book too. So you are serving
Yeah. And I
many
think for
people.
for the people out there that, don't think they have it in them, like obviously first call needs to be to you. So, so you can like break it down to make it seem possible because it's very possible. And there's so many intangible, I guess you would call it intangible benefits to I had a priest who snowboards in Australia send me a
Hmm.
message this long. He listened to
Wow.
the whole book while he was snowboarding over the weekend. Million
Wow.
dollar flip flops, not
Yeah.
and just so heartwarming. So like you just
Hmm.
can't explain to people. The best example I always give is sports. I coached baseball for a long time. And you
Yeah.
see these kids 10 years later and they remember something you told them.
Yeah,
It's
that's so
that.
cool.
You know what I
That
mean?
is
It's
so
that.
cool. That taking the legacy. Yeah. And I'd love to help your listeners who want help writing a book. I make it the easy way. I attract a lot of people who have dyslexia or just are too busy. I just interview them, turn it into a book, and then you not only get the book, but you get the audios and the videos. You can launch the YouTube channel, whatever. So it's an overall media strategy, and it's fun and it's easy. Most people can talk their book much easier than they can write it.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think we leave it there, my friend. You and I could jam for another 3 hours and bore people stiff with data and analytics and everything else. But this has been a ton of fun. We'll have to have you back on.
It has been a ton of fun, and congratulations again on your book launch today.
Thanks. Thanks so much. All right, gang. That does it for me and Aurora. Make sure you go check out all of her stuff in the show notes. And until next time, keep it on the flip side. Cheers.